Hey everybody, I'm Erica Carlson with Bricks Real Estate. I sell real estate in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, surrounding areas. I like to make educational videos about the real estate market. So if you learned something new, I would appreciate if you liked and shared and subscribed. Whether you're finding this on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, I do post it in a variety of places and would love to have you join my growing community. If you would like to make a move in the Minneapolis community and surrounding area, you can reach me by clicking on the link I'm providing. And the very first option is how you will set up a phone call or a meeting time. And of course, I want you to pick the time that works best for you. This week, we are going to look at our real estate market data that has changed in the last week. And then towards the end of the video, I'd like to talk to you about new construction. I have a resource that you might want to check out if you're thinking about new construction as an option. A lot of people are leaning that way because of interest rates being on the higher side and kind of all over the place, that some of the builders are giving away incentives if you use their preferred lender and their title company. So we'll dig into that at the end. So starting with Twin Cities market data as a whole, since I assume you're looking at this because you're local or you're thinking about moving to Minnesota, we are gently continuing to slide into a deeper seller's market, which means, if just to speak English, less likely to get contingencies, like if you had a house to sell, maybe houses are going into multiple offers, not getting your closing costs paid, things like that are going to become more common as we continue to watch that star move over on the screen. In terms of inventory, it's a little bit above where it was last year at this time. I think we had a big snowstorm, so that kind of throws things off a little bit. In terms of days on market, it's about the same as it was last week, not a lot of change. And interest rates, that depends on the day and the hour you ask. I'm not a loan officer, so please reach out to your favorite lender and ask them where things are for you. Mine on the screen is based on just general information. It's a base rate, conventional. It's not with any discount points. So please, dig into that for yourself. Okay, now we're going to focus on Wright County information. And what I noticed is that the inventory has gone just a hair up. It's not really that significant because we were at 435, then we're at 413, 425. So these numbers aren't changing that much week over week. There just isn't a lot of choices. We've been saying this for a very long time. I know 425 sounds like a really high number, but when you put in your price point, when you put in the specs you want, you're going to dwindle down to a handful of options. It's always rather remarkable that you can take 425, and the reality is you'd be lucky if you had 50 houses on your list that you might want to pick from. Only 380 of those have no contingencies. Yes, properties can come back on the market. It's hit or miss. It's nothing you want to. If you really love a house, you can watch it, but you don't want to take a lot of stock into it, move on to something else if you see it move into a contingent or a pending state, and maybe, things will change and you will get it back. Pending, that went up quite a bit, because we're at 176 and now we're at 193. So that means a lot of people are picking those houses and getting them under contract. And then you can see closings came down a little bit over last week. But again, if we look over week, these things aren't changing that much. Absolutely nothing stands out to me on this. Now we look at showing activity, and we're going to talk about this, but I want to give you perspective so you understand how this information relates to you if you're selling or buying. So we had a nice little uptick in Wright County from 2.3 to 3.5. This isn't going to feel super remarkable as a home seller or even as a buyer. I mean, we're talking about basically one more showing a week per listing in the 250 to 500K range. But what this tells me is that more people have gotten off the sideline and have decided to start shopping. That could be because there's particular properties that are capturing people's attention. It could be just because we're doing the classic. It's after the Super Bowl. That's when people really start getting out. Again, week over week, we should see an increase in this number. More people thinking about selling and more people buying. So hopefully we'll see that inventory to support people who are looking for properties. Just to make this I guess like very obvious to everybody. I listed a house in Buffalo this week and we had way more than 3 showings per week. So when I tell you it's the average, I mean, it really is. That's all it is. It's an average. It doesn't exactly tell you what you should expect if you listed a house tomorrow, because there's too many factors to go into that for me to tell you you're going to only have 3 showings. That number is more based on time. This is everything in Wright County averaged together, you know, so that could be a house that sat there for 400 days versus a house that sat there for 4 days. So it literally is an average. We didn't have only 3 showings on that property. We far exceeded that. But when we compare it to Hennepin County, it shows you we just do not move at the same pace. They're getting about 6 showings a week. And so if you are a home buyer, it's really important for you to understand that if you write offers in the Hennepin County area, I'm talking Coon Rapids, Plymouth, St. Louis Park, Bloomington, you need to expect multiple offers, especially depending on your price point. You need to expect a lot more people like running into them at showings, open houses. I mean, I know I've been out showing a lot of houses recently, and we are constantly seeing other groups of people out there. I showed one where there were 3 of us inside the same house at the same time. I think that was in Brooklyn Park or Brooklyn Center. We went to an open house immediately after that. There had to be 5 or 6 groups of people inside that open house. So that just shows you Hennepin County is moving at a different speed. If your house is in Wright County, you wouldn't necessarily expect that kind of traction. And there's nothing, you know, there's no feelings to have there. It's just a difference in location. It's just a different experience, which is why we have these conversations. If you let your eyes go down to the days on market, that has been an incredible jump. And I think that is sort of confusing because now this is all price points in Wright County. It jumped up to 81 days in the average. But because I'm pulling pending data, what that tells me is it must have grabbed a couple people, must have got their houses in pending that had been sitting on the market for a really long time. That can happen whether it's a luxury house at a really high price point, maybe finally found a buyer. Maybe it was like an investor house that needed tons of work and it had been sitting there for a long time before it found a buyer. So that data isn't taking account to any price point or type of property. It's just residential. So that might be a little, you know, misleading on the days. I mean, if you were going to hire me to sell your house tomorrow, I definitely wouldn't be preparing you for it to take 80 days before you got a sale. That's not really what's actually happening, but that's what happens when we average numbers together. So the median's 38. The median might be a little bit more helpful. I still don't think a lot of properties would need, you know, 38 days to get an offer. So, you know, the data seems a little skewed this week, so take that with a grain of salt. All right, at the beginning of the video, I promised you that I would bring you some information about new construction, something that you might find helpful. So give me a moment to show you my screen. And so if you are excited about new construction, I would definitely recommend and go out there and see what might work for you in your price point. Of course, just like any other purchase, I would recommend you get pre-approved first, so you have an idea of what your true budget is rather than just going out there and looking at houses on the weekend for fun. I don't really think that that's a great use of your time, even though a lot of people do like window shopping. I think it just kind of preserves your energy too for the process by looking at things that are appropriately priced. But what I wanted to share with you today is I absolutely love new construction. Personally, I bought a spec house, which I can tell you what that means in just a second. I've been here for 15 years, so it's not new anymore. But I created this, I don't know, I know it says guide on the screen. It's a website. And I don't have this public. I mean, I'm happy to share it with anybody who asks. So I think the way I'd like you to reach out to me is just send me an email. I think that'd be the easiest way to do that. And again, when you click on that link, you'll see my email right at the top. You can go to my website, iheartmplsminneapolishomes.com. There's lots of ways you can obviously find me. It's just easier than texting you this because the website's kind of goofy. It's like I don't have a domain set up for it. But anyway, what I have in here is anytime someone tells me I want to buy new construction, I have all my resources in one place, which is just makes it really nice and succinct. It's not, you know, I have different ones for people who are buying in general and selling, and I have all sorts of information like that. But This one is very aimed at new construction. So I'm just going to show you briefly what you're going to get inside. It doesn't obligate you to anything for asking for this. I mean, we can set you on a custom search for new construction. Obviously, new construction is super exciting. It's brand new. Nobody's ever lived there. It does have some drawbacks that we don't talk about very much. So it is important to talk to a real estate agent about whether it's appropriate for you. So the first thing is this guide, and I could just send you the guide. That's not a problem, but you can get it off of this if I send you this link. I took that information, I made it into video. So if you jump over on my YouTube site, you can find all my new construction videos. They're probably getting a little old now, but the information is still pertinent. The home buying process is just like buying resale. It's really not any different. Again, talking to a lender early is important. Kind of depends on whether you're building from scratch, full new construction, custom, or if you're buying a spec house. The closer you're getting to one that's already on the market, it's just like a resale purchase for the most part. Little information here about why you need your own realtor. Let me, spill the beans right now, because you're not going to save any money. You guys, for everybody out there who thinks doing this on your own is somehow doing something for you, listen, if you're incredibly competent about real estate contracts, negotiations, getting the best deal, all those types of things, go ahead, do it. You definitely don't need a real estate agent to buy new construction, but it doesn't hurt you. So, why not at least talk to one before you decide if it's appropriate for you or not? Do not go to new construction sites without your realtor. You can be cutting yourself out of the ability to have your own representation. Of course, the builder can help you. The builder rep works for the seller, so you're going to be getting the seller helping you essentially, which of course they're happy to do, but again, it doesn't help you at all. Yes, you should consider getting an inspection. I mean, I'm not going to die on this hill. If you don't want to get one, that's fine. Obviously there's warranties, but people don't realize how much can be missed without getting an inspector. Highly recommend one. Earnest money is different with, or can be. Again, depends. Are you building from scratch? Are you buying a spec house? You want to find out what the requirements are of earnest money. No, earnest money is not down payment. Got some more tips here on how to avoid issues, things about are different about new construction contracts. Even for real estate agents, we often, when we're helping you get through those contracts, they look different to us too. And, things like the contingencies, and there's a lot of people out there that do not understand. You cannot go to a builder and say, hey, I gotta sell my house and then I'll buy this. Just like everybody else, they're like, can you please get your house on the market? Can you please get a buyer? Like, we're not trying to get this house locked up with somebody who does not have the ability to finance this. So that is the short and the sweet. I would love to send you this, but again, I'm not that excited about making this a public link. I'd prefer to just give it to people one-on-one. So there is my contact information on the screen. I'm happy to take your text or your phone call, but at some point I would like to email this to you if it is going to be helpful. Again, the cheat is to go to YouTube and check out my videos there. So I do hope that was helpful. If there's anything else I can do for you, please don't be afraid to reach out. I absolutely love hearing from you guys and hope you have a great Valentine's Day and an excellent week. See you next Wednesday.